Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Cardfight Vanguard Lisciafael deck profile for post-Moon Fangs and Cerulean Blaze. Wanted to update one of the final decks that got support in the 7th Cardfight Vanguard booster set, the Destined One of Supremacy, Lisciafael. It got a couple new cards here and there in the booster set, so I figured an update was definitely due. I can't recall if Lisciafael is getting any support in set 8. I don't believe so. I believe the main focus for that set will obviously be Artisaria and the new Kyrie support for one of the original Lyrical Monasterio decks. So updating the Lisciafael deck with the new support that we have. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the ride deck as usual. We have the Energy Generator with our starter being Lucent Sweet Millies when wrote upon. If you want second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Coolest Glance Villia. When wrote upon by Mature Lures Ludica, draw a card, choose a card from your rear guard, put it or hand, put it into the soul, choose one of your vanguards, and it gets plus 5,000 till end of turn. So the big play with this deck is obviously to build up your soul as quickly as possible, which is what all these cards do. We also run the one copy of the Mature Lures Ludica. When wrote upon by grade 3 with Lisciafael in its card name, Counterblast 1, or Energy Blast 3, draw a card and Soul Charge 1. So by then you've already set up 2 additional cards in the soul before riding into your grade 3 Destined One of Supremacy, Lisciafael, which we run 3 additional copies in the main deck as well. On the Vanguard circle once per turn, when this unit attacks while not boosted, Energy Blast 3 and put 2 or more rear guards into the soul, and this unit gets Drive +1 till end of turn, and this unit gets plus 5,000 till end of turn for each card put into soul for this cost. So it's the added drive check power, but the big skill comes with its divine skill. On Vanguard, at the end of the battle, this unit attacked a grade 3 or greater unit. If your soul has 6 or more cards, Counterblast 1, stand this unit, and it gets drive -2 until end of turn. And until the end of this fight, you get all of your vanguards with Lisciafael, get plus 5,000 power and critical +1. So it's a continuous power that your opponent will have to hit over 18k, and then you'll be able just to swing with that 18k and critical +1, even if you're not able to use the initial Energy Blast 3 drive +1 ability of this unit. And then for other grade 3s, 3 copies of Charmy Present Amphio. When placed on rearguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Lisciafael in its card name, Counterblast 1, draw a card, and this card gets plus 5,000 till end of turn. So just having extra draw power for resources that you'll need for being able to put into the soul for your Vanguard. And when this unit's put into the soul by the rearguard of your ability for your grade 3 or greater Vanguard Lisciafael, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets plus 5. So just being able to give you an additional bonus ability for when you put a card into the soul thanks to Lisciafael. We're also running for the new grade 2s 4 copies of White Cat Dance Lassica. When it is put from rearguard into the soul by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard Lisciafael in its card name, Counterblast 1, draw a card, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets on Vanguard during this battle. This unit attacked. When your opponent will call cards from their hand to the guard circle, they must call 2 or more at the same time until end of turn. So for the added pressure that our Vanguard provides with all the other units, having a guard restriction ability definitely does help, so our opponent doesn't just place down a Sentinel. We need some more of that pressure added on to the Vanguard, and not just the plus 5 critical, which it always has, which is a nice pressure, but it's always available there. Having a grade 2 that can provide additional pressure definitely does come in handy for also using the ability of our Vanguard to be able to do so. We're also still running the 4 copies of our Brilliance for Stage Albelina. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Lisciafael in its card name, it gets plus 5,000, and on rearguard once per turn, when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Lisciafael in its card name attacks, if your front row has no other rearguards, Counterblast 1, stand this unit, and if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, it gets plus 10. So it's one of the multiple attack units, making use for the fact that some of your other grade 2s may go into the soul. So if you've already attacked with Albelina, being able to restand it for that added power. I wanted a higher grade 2 count in the deck just because there are a lot of times where you don't have that many rear guards to make use of, so we need the higher grade 2 count to see the readily available cards to be able to place onto the front row. And also the 3 copies of Weaving Thoughts Together Skunkle. When this unit is put from rearguard into the soul by the ability of a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Lisciafael, you may put it into the hand. So this will take away from the cards built up into your soul, but the bigger play is you always have cards later on to be able to put into the soul as well. So if you've hit that number of cards needed in the soul for your divine skill, the additional cards in soul can just be added resources to then be able to add back, and that's where this card comes in handy. And then the last of our grade 2s being 2 copies of the new Shining Song in the Night Skies Corpini. If you have a grade 3 grade Vanguard Lisciafael in its card name, put this unit in the soul, choose one of your units, and it gets +5 until end of turn. So it's just more or less an early on option for putting into the soul. If you have a grade 3 grade Vanguard with Lisciafael, just being able to have that additional power boost to one of your units beforehand, if for some reason you don't have the needed number in your soul to be able to use for your Vanguard. For the grade 1s, running 4 copies of Clover Hearts Nelnia. When it's placed on rearguard, if you have a grade 3 or grade Vanguard Lisciafael, its card name, counterblast 1, and choose a grade 2 or less normal unit with a different card name from this unit without Sentinel from your soul, and put into your hand, and then you may soul charge 1. So for the use of a counterblast, it helps grab resources back, because you need those 2 units to be able to use Lisciafael's Drive +1 ability. So having this card acts as a resource to grab 1 additional card, because you'll place this card, counterblast 1, choose a grade 2 or less normal unit from your soul, and then add to your hand and soul charge 1. Then you'll be able to call out that unit and have the 2 needed for your Vanguard. And on rearguard, when this unit boosts, if you have a grade 3 or grade Vanguard with Lisciafael, soul blast 2, and it gets +10. Having the added build up soul once again, so you just have that added option for the additional power on rearguard. And also the 4 copies of Sway with Swings Balatiel. On rearguard, during the battle, this unit boosted. If you have a grade 3 or grade Vanguard Lisciafael in its card name, this unit gets +5. And when it's unit boot into the soul, by the rearguard of the ability of your Vanguard with Lisciafael, draw a card. If you do not countercharge this turn, countercharge 1. So you will counterblast quite a bit with many different cards in this deck. So having the options for a countercharge card definitely makes it a 4 of, just so we can have those resources readily available for our Vanguard to be able to use. With the big play, obviously, is Lisciafael can use the Energy Blast for its first ability, and then you're only going to use the Counter Blast for its Divine Skill once, since Divine Skill is a once per game ability. And then other grade 1s include the 3 copies of Blue-Haired Prodigy Resius. When it's placed on rearguard, choose one of your other units, it gets +10 till end of turn. So we can use this card as a place, give our Vanguard +10, and then have this card be one of the cards to be put into the soul, since it's just a 3k unit, and it already provided a better power boost to another unit on the rearguard or Vanguard circle, most of the time being your Vanguard. And then the rest of the grade 1s being the 4 copies of Best Served Hot Warmia. Not running Elementaria Sanctitude. I really didn't like running orders in the deck. I knew we have the new High 5 order, which definitely does help in the deck. If you wanted to run High 5 in the deck, you could try mixing around the copies of Resius and the new grade 2 Corpini, just because it acts as a better use for setup, with being able to be activated from the drop and not needing the counterblast for the Divine Skill. If you are, the counterblast for the order, if you have a Vanguard Divine Skill. So that's why I wanted to mention also about the new High 5 promo from the June months of local card shops. But still, once again, didn't want to run too many orders, so that's why we're just running the 4 Warmia. So if we have the Elementaria Sanctitude, there's a chance we may not be able to call that card to rearguard. There's a chance that we may always be able to call Warmia if we need it for that 1 extra push for our Vanguard. And then the trigger lineup being the 8 critical for the added pressure on top of our Vanguard's own additional critical. The 3 draws, because most of the time we're not going to have a full front row rear guard to make use of a front trigger. And then the 4 generic heals, just for the consistent 15k guard. And our over trigger being the fantastic Fernail Katrina, just being the most fitting over trigger to use with our Catgirl Vanguard also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, just an update to some of the final decks. I know Omina Gruzio is another deck I have to update. Just looking to gather up the final pieces for that deck for this set as well. I can't remember if Omina Gruzio has support, or not Omina Gruzio, Impaldio, the other Destined 1 deck, has support in the next booster set or not, but I'll definitely have to look into it to see. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.